Hello, welcome to Footprint. My name is Samuel Attah-Mensah. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and zoom in straight to our guest for today. A wonderful guest. You'll love this show today. Welcome again.
Born on the 16th September 1952 in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, Alhaji Abdul-Raman Haruna Attah completed the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He then worked in the now defunct Ghana Film Industry Corporation and rose to the position of the managing director. Upon leaving public service, he ventured into journalism and became the editor for the Statesman newspaper. He later founded his own newspaper. He was in 2012 appointed by the former president Atta-Mensah to serve as the High Commissioner to Namibia. Alhaji Abdul-Raman Haruna Attah tells his story on Footprints now.
Welcome back to the program. Now you know who I'm talking about. Alhaji Abdul-Raman Haruna Attah. Now, does this name ring a bell? Just wait. For the next 45-50 minutes, you'll be bombarded with all the things you either did not know or you forgot about. Alhaji.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
Same here, thank you. And I'm so honored you've come to my house. I should have gone to the studio.
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's better in your house. I mean, wonderful setting. And you're one of the few people who lives in the middle of Accra, and we can still see plants
and trees
in your house. So it's refreshing.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Same here. Thank you.
How have you been?
Well, growing old, enjoying my retirement.
But it doesn't even show.
Well, I'll be 70 in 2 years. In fact, this month, September 16th, I'm going to be 68.
Wow.
Well.
So who is Haruna Attah?
Well, Haruna Attah is an Ashanti Northerner. Ashanti Northerner because I was born in Kumasi.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
That makes it interesting.
Yes. But I'm in the Gomba, and I often say to people that if the Ashanti region was a country, I would have the passport signed by the government of the Asante. So, yeah.
Oh, tell me about Kumasi.
Yeah,
you were born in Kumasi.
Yeah, I was born in Kumasi.
Where
in,
exactly?
Asawasi. Yeah, the house number was H64 or something.
So Asawasi close to Akwetia line.
Fantastic. The Akwetia line, our family house was partly at Akwetia line.
Near the rail line.
Exactly. Yeah. So that means you know Kumasi. Maybe you were also born in Kumasi. So it was around 1957 or 58 when I was it 4 or 5 years, 6 years, when my father decided that with the independence we've just had in 57, he thought there would be more opportunities for Northerners in the diaspora, as it were, to help. So he packed all of us, his own children, extended family, and then we just went to the north. And that's how it was. Those men in those days were quite progressive in the way they viewed the country. Yes. So we just moved first to Yendi, and then we settled in Tamale after
Yendi
that.
at the time?
Yeah. India at the time, of all places,
difficult.
It was very difficult.
I mean, from Kumasi with all the... Akwetia line was the center of everything.
Exactly. And then we moved to the north, to Yendi, and then to Tamale. And he was forward-looking because he educated us all, not just his own children, but all...
How many were you?
Us children, his children were 7. But as for the extended family that was with him was uncountable. If I can't put a figure to it. But they were all there, and he was just a civil servant. And in those days, because the economy, could manage such things, it was possible to educate so many people feed so many people, and have some little change to even build the house.
Early childhood education, what was it like in Tamale?
For me, it was one of the sweetest parts of my life, starting from Yendi when I was in a primary school, and then to Yendi.
But you could speak the language?
Not immediately.
Because if you are born in Kumasi, the Asante will just be on your lips like that.
Even as we speak, my Dagbani is laughed at. I still can't speak very good Dagbani. And then the interesting thing too is that I was born in a very, very conservative Sunni Muslim family.
Okay.
Yeah, and that I'll end up marrying a Christian. It's for me one of those things in life that, well, should teach us all a lesson. It's exactly coexistence. It's possible. It can happen.
So you entered
UST.
KNUST, which year?
72 to 76. Many people don't know this, but I studied graphic arts.
Of course.
Many people mistake things that they think I had studied English or law or something. No, I didn't do anything like that.
So College of Arts.
College of Art, yes. And then I came out and did my national service with the then Ghana Film Industry Corporation. Then I went briefly to the Ministry of Information, or rather
Information Services?
The ministry itself. Yes. And,
this was under which minister, if you like?
It was Joyce Ayi. I think it was under Joyce Ayi, and then later to Toby Kwachi. It was Joyce Ayi. I remember I would exasperate Auntie Joyce so much on one issue or the other, and she would often say to me, Haruna, but why are you so quarrelsome and querulous? but it's also
a
just
young man who wanted to express himself.
Exactly, to express himself. So
at this time, you were not married.
No, I think I was married again in the early 80s.
Okay.
Maybe 83, 82, thereabouts.
Okay.
And,
so when you were about getting married, did that have anything to do with Jerry Rawlings?
In fact, that had everything to do with Jerry Rawlings, because I married his wife's younger sister, and it happened this way.
Tell me how. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
It happens this way, and I'm sure it happens to young female journalists. You go to interview a boss. A boss is a bachelor, and he sees you, and then he thinks something has clicked. So she had come to interview me. I didn't know her, and she was then a student at the Institute of Journalism, and we did the interview. She had to come back and do follow-ups and so on. From one professional follow-up,
then you rather followed up
to a personal follow-up. And as I said, the rest is history. She was such a sweet young woman. And
but I'm asking, at this time, you had established that she was with the Rawlings family.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I knew it. And in fact, people were wondering whether I could manage, because the family was considered a top family.
Untouchable.
Exactly. And then this Kurasini from Tamale to come and go into this kind of family, people would ask me, but can you manage it?
So you are watching Footprint, and I'm here with Alhaji Haruna Attah. He has different hats. We are gradually descending into this one. We'll take a short break, and then when we come back, we'd like to know from him whether he got on to become the closest friend of Jerry Rawlings and what became of his friendship with Rawlings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. This is Footprint, and I'm here with Alhaji Haruna Attah. Before we went for the break, we were talking about his relationship. Now he's married to the sister of Nana KONADU AGYEMAN Rawlings, who is also Nana Ya AGYEMAN. Is that correct? Yep. So obviously he's inside there. A chance for Ghana. The one is there. So I want to know, Alhaji, so did this bring you closer to the then head of state?
Interestingly enough, no.
It did not?
No, at all. I happen to be a very independent kind of person. I can't have something or something like that. I don't try to ingratiate myself too much with people, no matter what office they occupy. So I wasn't that close to him. He had his set of friends.
Yeah.
He had his set of cronies. I had my own.
So you're generally seen at the time as part of their philosophy and their way of doing things.
Yeah, because I was in the system.
Yeah.
I was in the system. I cannot deny that I had a little role to play, no matter how marginal. But I wasn't in the core, in the heart of it. But of course, I had friends like the late Atta, who was the minister for, or the PNDC secretary for information, and such people were very, very, very good friends. The likes of Cabral, Leami here, the likes of my friend Kweko Opoku, so many other.
So Atta was information secretary?
Yes. Okay, yeah, very effective. I mean, he even earned the sobriquet of the People's Secretary. Yeah, he was all over the place.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, it was Mr. Atta.
Yes. Yeah. So, but the inside, I wouldn't describe myself as being a core member.
Right.
Yeah. But and President Rawlings himself was busy, so there was no time to.
So from the political side, you consider yourself not such a part of it. The family side, what was your own relationship between yourself and the Rawlingses? The
family side too, there were a few tensions. That one too, I can't hide away from it. And even there too, I wasn't much of an insider, so to speak. But then it developed into a little animosity. Again, I can't run away from it.
As a result of?
All sorts of mistakes by all parties involved, or all sorts of misunderstandings.
Okay.
But then there came a time when there was real animosity, especially between me and President Rawlings.
While you were still working within his system?
No, after I had left.
Okay. Which year did you leave?
I left, I think, in 86.
Okay.
Thereabouts, 86, thereabouts.
Did you leave on a good note?
Half and half, so to speak. You see, when you are in a government system, there are others who think they should be where you are. So there were people who resented
They were choking you. They were
choking me.
Yeah. The key word is chook.
Chook, exactly.
Yes.
So some people had expected that I would use that proximity to try to go and argue my case, and I didn't do it. And things became untenable, and after a while, I sent my resignation to Mr. Totobi Kwachi, who was then either the PND secretary or acting PND secretary. 86 thereabouts. Yeah, 86 thereabouts. But then later, out of my own decision, I made a public settlement of scores to settle things, in which I sent an open apology to President Rawlings and his wife that, somehow time had come for a truce, because we're all growing up. I was growing up, and I did send a public apology without any condition. There was no precondition, so that I could bring things back on track, which I did. And I think it's one of my proudest moments, actually.
At which point did you decide to go into journalism, as you later on became known for?
Okay, that one too was earlier in, I think, 1990 or 1991, when I decided to publish a magazine called Imagine Magazine. Imagine Magazine, I think, was ahead of its time, as such things normally are. And after a few editions, we we had to fold up
But
because
people don't read.
People don't read. So
Don't see pictures.
Yeah.
Muguyaru.
Those kinds of things.
PMP.
Yes. So this
Sit-ins.
yeah. So this magazine was literary, artistic, and just forward-looking. It had all the columns: the cartoon page, science page, literary pages, and so on. So it didn't last much longer. But then I was just doing a few freelance things in design, etc., etc. And then I got involved in conservation. So I was then doing stuff as a consultant to the Ghana Wildlife, an aspect of it, Save the Seashore Birds project.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I was working with those. I even did a small film. I helped them to do wildlife exactly. So I was involved in all sorts of things, really. It was a very exciting part of my life. I even designed, in those days, the fabric for Ghana Airways. If you remember, in those days, they had some dress with the Edinkra symbols on
Yeah,
that was
looked
my
orange-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was my handiwork.
Oh, okay.
So I did all sorts of things then. Then the writing proper came at the beginning of the
Fourth Republic.
Fourth Republic, yeah, when the Constitution had opened up the floodgates. And
so how did it start? You started a newspaper?
No, I didn't start. I went to a friend's office, a printer's office, and I met someone discussing with the printer a newspaper, the printer of a newspaper. So I asked the gentleman, oh, can I contribute a column or something? And the gentleman said, why not? And that was the beginning. So I started a column called Taking Issue in the Statesman.
So this newspaper you refer to as a Statesman?
Yes. Then the publisher was a company called KNUST Communications, which I'm told belonged to the then Nana Akufo-Addo. So I was doing the column. I didn't care. For a period, even they were not paying me anything, but I just enjoyed the idea of
the
writing.
whole excitement of being part of the conversation.
Exactly, and people reading you and commenting and so on. Then on some particular occasion, he called me and said to me that, he's learned that a good 25% of the sales of the newspaper was as a result of my articles, my columns. And so, why don't I take up the editing of the newspaper?
But who was the editor at the time?
The editor was his cousin, the late Amfokwachi. I can understand why you are laughing. So that was
may he rest
in peace. You
yes.
can't say anything more than
that.
Yes. So then I took over that.
But you enjoyed life with him.
Oh yes.
Well, he loved to enjoy.
Yeah. Was a man of the world. It's a pity he left too soon. When his man has risen to become what he is today. So
that must have been a struggle at the time, because they were straight away opposition to the whole.
Yes, and that is also part of the paradoxes of my life, because at that time. It was stridently against the NDC and Jerry Rawlings and President Rawlings and so on. So life is interesting and funny. You get involved in things. Sometimes you can't tell what is coming at you or to you from afar, from the distance. But eventually you get yourself in those situations, and the best thing is to do it with integrity and a good conscience. You should be able to say, yes, I did it.
So you became the editor.
Yes.
I remember that. And then Amfokwachi became general manager or something. Okay. Good. So that will now put you at the forefront.
Yeah.
This would be in mid-90s?
Yes. Yes.
So at the time, Amfokwachi was the general manager, became the general manager, and then you took over as editor. Yes. And this was right in the middle of the NDC thing,
Yeah.
and being an opposition newspaper. What were some of the challenges
Oh, there was a lot of there were a lot of challenges because that was the era of the so-called culture of silence, and there was a lot of intolerance in the system. Those were the days of shit bombing and that kind of thing.
And, talk about that
exactly. And I was hauled to court.
But you were a very strong person. I mean, you don't look it, but you were very tough.
I try to, like I said, in life, you get confronted by many things that are already been planned for you by providence, by destiny. So when they come, you just live it and then you go on. Because that was when I went to jail, and many people don't even know that my jail was brought on by my own sister-in-law because she said my newspaper had libeled her.
You and Kweku Baku, yeah.
Yes, and
I remember that. Yes. Which year was this?
Again, somewhere in 90 something, in the middle there. I tend to put bad news behind me.
Yeah, but I mean, it happened.
Yeah, it happened, yes.
For the records, it did happen.
Yes, it happened.
Because I remember when the two of you were put in the vehicle and driven to, was it in Sawam?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do. By the time I got to Sawam, my wrists were sore from the handcuffs. Because,
and it was for publishing something.
Yeah, we had published a story that described her as having told a lie. Because we picked the story from West Africa magazine
at the time,
and she made certain claims which to us were untruths, and we published them as such, describing her as having told a lie. And then she sued, and through the process, the issue of contempt came up, and then the court, she had prayed the court to commit us for contempt, and the court had freed us, and we had also had asked the court to lift the injunction it had placed on us. Well, the judge at that time, may his soul rest in peace, Judge also said, he knew he was holding a hot potato of a political case. So he decided not to jail us. He found some excuse to free us of the contempt thing, and then he also refused to lift the injunction. Okay, the lawyers said, okay, this is 1-1 draw, let's forget, go on, hear the substantive case and end it. But then she decided to appeal to the Court of Appeal to still have us committed. So at the Court of Appeal, 2 of the 3 judges decided, yeah, we should go in. So we went in for contempt for 1 month, which is a terrible thing. Prison's a terrible place.
So you were there with Kweku Baku Jr.?
Yes. Later they separated us from Sawam. I was sent to Akuse. He was sent to Winneba, I believe.
Those are quiet places.
Terrible places. Those are district or whatever prisons. They are not even regional prisons. Yeah, they are terrible little places that
human. You spent a whole month there.
Yeah, we spent a week each at
in
Sawam, and then spent the remaining 3 weeks in those prisons. But then the Arabs have a saying that blows that don't break your back strengthen your back. So I find all these things as part of the strengthening of character. I'm now able to decide on what
But it energized you too.
Precisely.
And you became the Haruna Attah.
Yes, and really strengthened me and energized me, you are right. And since then, I haven't looked back.
But at that time too, private broadcasting had just popped up, and opportunities, new platforms for expressions, which also drew you into.
Yes. I remember the Joy FM days. I remember the Joy FM days.
The whole concept of Newsfile, which is a popular program on Joy today. I know
we're all pioneers.
Pioneers of Newsfile, being the editor of Statesman, and you were a regular every Saturday.
Exactly.
And then Kweku Baku came,
and then
and I haven't said this before. You always have this demeanor, and it's very easy for people to underestimate you, but you always rise to the occasion. I had a lot of pressure to remove Kweku Baako from the program.
Wow, I didn't know.
No, nobody knew except myself and Kwesi. Week on week pressure. Because I think he was throwing bombs and damaging things. But we stood our grounds. And we had to do everything to keep him there. I mean, I had pressure, I'm telling you.
I mean, I mentioned Kwesi is a great pioneer who should be recognized sooner or later for what he's done. Because I remember...
Very much so.
My wife was one of the first journalists he invited to come and work there. And we used politics to turn him down.
Okay.
That's what politics can do.
Yeah.
Before even Komla Jumo, all of that, she was one of the first persons because she's a fantastic journalist. Yeah. But we turned it down basically because we thought the system had done Charlie Brobst in unfairly. Yeah. So we took sides. We said, no,
we don't want to be part of this. Yeah, I mean, but
the rest is
eventually it turned out to be a good thing that happened after that. Yes, after that. And it defined the whole space for electronic broadcasting.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Moving forward, we had an encounter in 98, 99, and this one, and I'm talking about it because it's something that was associated with the Statesman, which you were leading at the time, the ever popular Rawlings tape.
Oh, you have a great memory. It's honestly, it's just receded into my memory. I've totally forgotten about that. That one too made the media.
You made it behind bars for a few days or so.
This is amazing. Yeah, but those were the days. But it's all past now.
So that was you were on Newsfile, and then there was a tape that was played.
Yep.
Purporting to draw the then president to some murder issues.
Yep. And then there was even another front page that Kweku Baako carried with someone swimming abroad in some swimming pool. And it also became an issue, and later they said it was a doctored picture. Someone's head had been put on someone's body. We went through a lot of such things then, and like I said, the bombings and so on and so forth. But we've since moved on. We've since moved on. Journalism these days is more professional than then. Then it was just guerrilla activities.
We needed it at the time. We needed people who could speak.
Yes.
And you stood on the front line.
Yeah, we did.
So we salute you, the likes of yourself, Kofi Kumsin.
Another pioneer. Kofi.
But he was stubborn, man. Kofi was just too stubborn for
Kofi. There are many stories. I hope he makes the time to write. I hope my other colleagues make the time to write. You see, all these details should not be allowed to just recede and die off.
So from then going to year 2000, and you were at the forefront of trying to push out the NDC government vehemently, and then President Kufuor became head of state. How did you receive that?
I received President Kufuor's presidency with much excitement and confidence and optimism. But then along the way, something happened that snapped something in me. I noticed a certain bigotry within the NPP, which then led me to reconsider my approach, and my involvement. Eventually, I fizzled out, and then I was doing my own thing. But then again, as Providence would have it, my good friend and junior brother, I would say, John Mahama, came into the picture, And
John's will be much later.
Much later.
I'd like us to talk about the commencement of the Accra Daily Mail.
Yeah, okay. The Accra Daily Mail was when I had resigned from the Statesman. There's something that happened, and I again found myself untenable at the Statesman. I could not handle the attitude of the publisher, and I thought I'll be wasting my time there. And certain...
Who was the publisher?
Well, the publisher was KNUST Communications, but then at that time,
the personality
was Nana Akufo-Addo, and
was he your friend? Had he become your friend?
Well, when you are working with someone, one way or the other, proximity allows a certain familiarity.
Okay.
Yeah, it may not necessarily be deep friendship, which I cannot say I had with the man. Yeah,
okay.
I didn't have deep friendship with the man. Yep.
Okay. Do you talk to him?
No, there's been no reason for me to talk to him. Actually, there's no reason.
Are you angry with him?
I'm angry not only with him, but I'm angry with a certain attitude they adopted.
Who's
at a certain time. That's he, including others within the MPP.
Like who?
Towards, again, I'd like to save those people. They are not here. It will be unfair.
But he's also not here.
Well, he has come up as a result of the discussion. The subject sort of automatically brought his name in. But then the others adopted a certain attitude which at that time I thought was markedly ethnocentric and possibly also Islamophobic. So it was untenable. The relationship with that group of people was untenable. Those who are involved in it, the cap, I'm sure, would fit them, and they will know what I'm talking about. Many people.
So you got angry with them?
I got disillusioned. Anger is something of a negative thing to be, but I got disillusioned, disappointed, and just thought the time was due for me to move forward. Okay. Yeah, so which I did.
So Accra Daily Mail moved from the 2000s into...
Yes, into the future. And that was, I started it on my own. Yeah. It wasn't very successful because it's...
but it was a very reputable newspaper.
Reputable, it was. But
and the design was excellent.
Yes, and edited. My wife was a good editor and proofreader, so she made it into one of the best edited newspapers in town.
I think for me, as an electronic media person, one of the challenges that I found with Accra Daily Mail, it was too professional for its own good.
Exactly, and the vendors used to tell me
it was too professional. I didn't carry any of those sensational headlines. And Ghanaians, they don't like to read such things.
No, the vendors will tell me that, and yes,
they want to see Papa Jasko's face, something that will let them laugh.
They used to tell me that my paper was not hot and I should use my relationship with Rawlings to do stories that would hit him. People would buy that kind of thing. I said, no way, I won't do that.
Right.
So then eventually, like I said, my friends...
Now, your fallout, if I should use that word, fallout with those people, as you described, did it happen after your surgery or before?
It happened, was it after or before? You know, there have been so many incidents in one's life, and one has to think of the...
Yeah, of course, at age 68, you can mix them up sometimes.
Because then President Kufuor was in office, and that's how come he helped. So that should be between 2000 when he came into office.
That would be his first term?
Yeah, that was during his first term. Yeah. So I went for the surgery in 2003. So that was his first term. And it was a helping hand, like I'm said, that really kept me alive to this day. Then it went on. The newspaper itself was not selling. We were living from hand to mouth. Any day that we got just one page advert or even half a page, it was much cause for us to go down on our knees to thank God for something to eat.
But you are not receiving advice from government like others did?
No, rarely.
You are not helping the cause?
I don't know, really. It was only during the time of the NDC when John Mahama was at the Ministry of Communications that one could get full pages of this and that. So that was very helpful. Was very helpful. Some ads used to come from other sources, but then we didn't have much to sustain us.
All right. So this is Alhaji Haruna Attah, and this is Footprint. My name is Samuel Attah-Mensah. We'll take a short break now. Welcome back to the program. This is Footprint. I'm here with Alhaji Haruna Attah. So Alhaji, we know that in the 90s and even up to mid-2000s, you were, by all the details that you have shared with us, associated with the MPP, and something must have happened. And we say you crossed carpets, you know, which you've alluded to. Now, so how did you jump from MPP straight to NDC like that? You could have remained your good self without towing any line necessarily. Was it to pay them back?
No, let's put it this way. It was a gradual transformation. Some people would say, oh, I don't like politicians, I don't trust politicians. But politicians are the only group of people we have who determine our lives. So you can decide to say, no, I have nothing to do with politics or politicians, but then you will have to abide by what the politicians eventually make into law. So it makes sense to have something to do with politicians. Yeah, for your own good and for the sake of society in general. Because it's not good enough to just fold your hands and sit down and blame politicians. Do what you can to change the political or the trajectory of your country's history. So what happened to me was a gradual, call it transformation, through the relationship I had with this one man, John Dramani Mahama. Gradually.
Was it through the media?
Through the media, but then through a relationship, a personal relationship.
And they had nothing to do with tribe?
No, he was actually a mate to my junior brother and friends.
In
Tamale. They did national service at the Ghana Secondary School. And I remember my junior brother would say to me that, oh, he's going to see E.A. Mohammed's son. And then anytime he comes back, he said, oh, E.A. Mohammed's son, his friend says he should send greetings to Big Bro, meaning me.
Yeah.
And I had never met him then. Then something happened. There was a radio station which is now, I believe, defunct, Groove FM, they called it.
Yeah, Groove FM, 106.3.
Thank you.
Now Adum FM.
So that's Adum, okay.
Yeah.
So there was a program in which on which I appeared, and I was talking about something. Then in the course of the program, he called in to stake his position about something or the other. He was then more or less a spokesman for the NDC. He was a parliamentarian, but he called in to stake his position. And I rather ingloriously or unfairly said he couldn't have known, because what I'm talking about, he wasn't even born then. Then I had a chuckle at the other end. He laughed and then made some very gracious statements to me about, well, maybe he was too young, but at least he grew up to know. He wasn't rude. He didn't shout back. He was just laughing, full of laughter. So I caught myself looking like a sympathizing. If I say I'm older than this young man, but this young man has showed me what it is to have good manners. I was embarrassed by it. So after that, we got to meet, and then a friendship gradually started growing. And before long, as these things happen in an osmotic way, you don't even feel it happening.
Okay.
It just
so he
happens.
became your friend.
My
friend.
friend.
This is late 90s issues that you're talking about. Gru FM ceased to exist in 98.
Aha.
So
around,
you know.
Yeah. So so this was 97.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
stated in the book I've written about him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Around that time. So
But you got along with him very well,
exceedingly well.
as you did with the vice president under President Kufuor.
Indeed. And as for the vice president,
And there are no ethnic considerations.
No, the
coincidence.
the former vice president Aliu, that's how we used to call him. Aliu, he also went to school with my uncles, my senior uncles, and he was a part of our family. And in fact, my name didn't call me at home Oli, short for old man. Even when he was vice president, that's how he called me. We would meet at functions. Oli, how are things? So I had that relationship with him. Nothing whatsoever to do with ethnicity. Also, I wouldn't have married an Ashanti.
Well, I mean, that's why I said coincidence.
Yeah,
So,
coincidence.
You know, right.
My children are married to Fanti Nigerian. Even one of them is married to a totally white Frenchman.
Okay.
I'm not bigoted along those lines at all.
Now tell me, you saw through the Kufuor era and then came Mills.
Yeah.
By which time you were fully geared towards the NDC. Is that correct?
No, I put it this way. My friendship with my junior brother, as it were, was getting stronger.
Yes. I mean, everybody in the media was John Mahama's friend.
Exactly.
I mean, I will tell you that.
Yep, I know.
Everybody in the media who was anybody you could mention was John Mahama's friend.
That was a relationship.
Whether you were MPP, whether you were NDC. You know.
And then he would come to the coffee shop sometime, the coffee shop mafia.
No, okay, I wasn't part of the mafia.
Okay.
But I was just small.
We were part of the mafia. So like you're saying.
I remember him with his blue Passat. John would come and pass.
Exactly. Yeah. And then John would listen to programs. Occasionally I'll appear on some program or the other, and he would have heard it. He would call me, "Oh, big bro, I thought you did well. If Ghana had people like you, you were quite objective on this and that." So like I said, a friendship started growing, and one of respect, because this was a man who was an MP, a minister, and later a vice president, was treating me with such respect. And it even got stronger when he became president. But I didn't carry any NDC card.
Of course. But even MPP, you never carried the card. So that's not what
I didn't go anywhere. But then I realized that I'll feed him with certain things I thought he should pay attention to.
Okay.
And truly he would. That was his
So when
modesty.
he became president, I noticed one of the things he did was to commission you as a high commissioner.
Yes.
To Namibia.
Yeah, and Botswana.
Yes. Oh, so you handled both countries.
Both countries, yes.
With excellence.
Yeah.
I am told, I don't know for a fact.
No, it is true. He used to tell me that anytime he met the Namibian president, the Namibian president would thank him for such an excellent diplomat.
So let me tell you this.
Okay.
Remember I met you in Johannesburg at a function?
Oh, yes. It was... you have all these memories. It was at Africa Media Leaders
Conference. And then I spoke with you. When I left, somebody who was from Namibia came to me to ask, "You know this man?" I said, "Yes, he's from Ghana." He said he's one of the best ambassadors that we have in our country. And I think you were the leader of the...
Yeah, I was part of the Africa group, but then I was doing most of the work.
Yeah, he told me. I didn't tell you then, but this is a good time to say.
I'm even getting goosebumps. I mean, sweet memories. We used to...
So tell me the whole episode of being an ambassador, which you didn't fight for, you didn't beg for.
No.
How was it like?
Diplomacy is something complex and complicated, but then you can make it easy depending on your own personality and predilections. So I went there with an open mind, and as a former media person, the media actually works wonders.
Because Cabral,
another excellent diplomat.
Cabral had gone through the
Cabral,
same.
Yeah, by the time he left, he was one of the best diplomats.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
I say that because when he was High Commissioner in Sierra Leone, I was working in Sierra Leone.
And then later
and I used
he
to
went
take
to
some of the credits.
And why not? And later he used to, he was sent to Abidjan,
Côte
d'Ivoire. Yeah. I'm sure if JM hadn't lost the elections, I'd probably would have also been somewhere, maybe South Africa or something. But anyway, I'm joking.
But he's coming again, so let's wait.
Inshallah.
He's coming again.
Inshallah.
He's trying to
He's trying to come back again. Let's see how it goes. So diplomacy is, you have to stamp your fingerprint on it. You can go for those number of years you are there, and nobody will ask you to do anything. You go to work in the morning, go back in the evening, go to receptions, go to the things diplomats do on the surface. And you come back after your 3-4 years or whatever without having achieved anything.
Did you find at any point in that short career any conflict, as in government wanting you to do something that you disagreed?
Interestingly enough, no. I rather found myself solving a few near-crisis situations.
Like which one?
Like the one when President Mahama was invited to go to Botswana on a state visit, and there was a mix-up in the correspondence communication somehow, and it was beginning to get very worrying.
Troubling, yes.
Yeah, and that was just my first few months or even weeks in office, and I had to come in quickly and write to the president and advise a course of action, which he took, and then it averted the crisis, and the state visit was postponed from 2014 to 2015. Like such things you...
But while you were High Commissioner in Namibia, you also had another huge occasion where you had to host President Rawlings.
Wow, that was it. President Rawlings is an interesting man. You know, you can use the whole day to talk about him. But anyway...
The last time Kwame Nahoe tried, he ended up in crisis.
Oh, well, but mine wouldn't end up. It's in the book I've written. When I was there, I got a message that he had been invited by the Prime Minister of Namibia through the Pan-African Center of Namibia to come and deliver a speech on Africa Rising. And they love him there. Next to Nkrumah, he's a person they know anyway. So I was quite worried because I couldn't quite tell whether he had forgiven my past attacks on him and so on. And I was just afraid that as the High Commissioner, I may go to welcome him, and he was entitled to courtesies as a former head of state. So I didn't know whether he would accept my the courtesies I was giving him, as I should do by law, more or less. So we went to the airport, and from the Namibian side, there was the Deputy Prime Minister, and I was there as the Ghanaian High Commissioner. So we went up to the aircraft when it landed, and then as he came down, the Prime Minister went first, Deputy Prime Minister went first to shake hands with him, and I didn't know what to do. Then I
knowing Jerry Rawlings.
Knowing him, and I had a brain wave. I knew he spoke some Hausa, and I said, let me try something. So I went to him and said, Sandazua Megida. Then he looked at me. I was like, Nukade. That's the icebreaker. The icebreaker. Then when we took him to his hotel, and in his suite, we had to leave him to rest before the program starts. So again, I said to him, I didn't know how to relax him. So I said to him, Mr. President, you've landed not too long ago, So I think we'll leave you to depressurize, and then we'll come later at the appointed time. Again, he looked at me and chuckled, depressurize. As a pilot, he knows what that means. So that means I had gotten a softer part of him, yes. You see. So if you are dealing with people, look for their soft sides and try to get them through that. Don't use patapa or takashi. It doesn't work. Yeah. Because those two incidents and the depressurize, because every pilot knows what depressurization means. So he looked at me and depressurize, and then smiled a little. Then again, I knew it had broken. Then the final incident was when we went to meet the founder of Namibia, Samuyoma, and he and our former president were discussing world events, and that was the time Boko Haram was at its height. So they were discussing Boko Haram. Then he turned around, I was sitting by him, and told President Samuyoma, maybe the High Commissioner can do something about this. And because I'm a Muslim, and the Boko Harams were Muslim, so he was poking a friendly jab at me, which I accepted in good faith. Yeah. So you have to understand people when you are dealing with them. So I don't think there should be any controversy in that. So they are all in my book.
Period he was there, hospitality. 100%.
Oh, fantastic.
But I mean, granted, Jerry Rawlings did so much for Namibia.
Yeah, he did, especially the Walvis Bay issue.
Oh, yeah. So he much for Namibia.
So much. And then
Namibian students that were granted scholarships to come and school in Ghana, they were hosted here at the International Students Hostel at the airport residential area. All over the place, Namibian students.
He did a lot.
Yep.
The police, he sent out police to help
That's
train
correct.
them.
The Namibian police.
Yes, the civil servants. Even Ambassador E.M. Deborah, he's now a very old man. The late Colonel Agbeko and all were there to help them establish their civil service. So he's a hero. Yeah. He's a hero there. We cannot underplay that one.
But you also did your best there.
Well,
now, then you ended your tenure after
the change of government.
Yes. Were you hoping to stay on?
No. Did
it give you a signal that my work is done because Nana Akufo-Addo is now president?
The transition law, the transition law anyway puts non-career diplomats in the bracket of those who should leave office.
Co-terminus with the...
Exactly, with the government of the government. Yeah, so I knew...
But were you expecting it?
Oh,
I mean, did you get the feeling that I didn't quit
the elections?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I did at some stage.
No, you would. I mean,
yes,
you would.
Yes, I did.
Again, you're a diplomat. So.
Yes, I did at some stage, but then I was hoping that things would not happen. So we were given our minister, our outgoing minister, the Honorable Attah, wrote to us to get ready to vacate by the end of, beginning from January 7th and leave the scene by January 31st. So I left Namibia on January 30, 2017. Wow. And I got home. Yeah. But again, it was one of my most enjoyable moments, just like my secondary school days. Yeah. Those are some of the moments in my life.
But you did a great job in Namibia, and I mean, many years after you left in your official capacity, they still deal with you a lot.
They still do. They still call me. In fact, I even was. We organized the Ghana-Namibia Friendship Association here, and I was briefly the president of the association, and I left. And since then, I've been to Namibia about 3 times.
Lovely.
And on one occasion, I even had a direct. What is it called? A direct audience with the Vice President Nangolo Mbumba.
Wow.
On another, I went with President Mahama and we met President Gangop. And on a third occasion, the Deputy Prime Minister, who is the Foreign Minister, went out of protocol and did dinner for me as a former ambassador.
Wow.
Yep. So that's it.
Going forward, 3 years or so after President Mahama left office, you wrote a book ostensibly in honor of President Mahama. Is that correct?
That is true.
What did you seek to do with the book?
Many things. One, for example, to set some records straight about the man, what I knew he was doing. The other thing too was to also establish his credentials as a Democrat and respecter of the freedom of expression. And then thirdly, part 2 of the book is in 2 parts, the Homeland Briefs and the Diplomatic Briefs.
All contained in one book?
One book,
okay.
Really. Part 2 was to bring up the idea of diplomacy, which many people think is something arcane, something they don't even want to touch. They think it's a special place. Yes, it is special, but then it is funded by taxpayer money. Mm-hmm. And I think the taxpayer has the right to know what you do when you go there. Mm-hmm. And then for the ordinary person also to know certain things about diplomacy. Why was I a high commissioner and not an ambassador? It's there. What do you mean by multilateral and bilateral
so
and even trilateral? So I went into
okay, so this is the book. Now, it has a very interesting title, Atta-Mensah. And then the picture, a glowing picture of President Mahama, and it says standing with JDM. Standing with JDM by Abdul-Raman, Haruna Attah. Now, you still bear these letters,
the MOV. Oh, yeah, I'm member of the Order of the Volta. I'm very proud of it, and I thank President Kufuor for entering me into...
So you are one of those who were honored at the conference center?
Yes.
And you received such a high,
very high
recognition.
And I'm very proud of it and grateful.
But you have lived it. You have lived it.
I
so this is
it.
the book, Atta-Mensah. Where can we find this book?
It's in almost all the bookshops in town, and in fact, it was launched only last Friday. So it's in all the major bookshops, and then we are trying also to get it on Amazon. They call it Amazon.
Yeah.
So
so how many pages?
331.
331 pages. Ghanaians, please read. Okay.
Let's read. And I'm ready to accept any of the booms that come the way it's come with the launching of another book I can't mention here. But it's a very harmless book.
Kwamnahoe's book is an interesting one. I like the book.
Yeah. And I think there's no reason why it should have created that kind of furore. Well, people who write books, let's be tolerant. If you don't like it, also write another, do an article, but don't think that's the end of the world.
For me, that's... Anyway, so, Alhaji, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I urge you to get a copy of this book.
Thank you.
I haven't read everything.
Yep.
What I do as a science student is that I don't have the attention span to read everything. So I go to the table of contents and I pick chapters.
True, and that's how I wrote this book. You can start from the middle or from the back or from wherever. It's not chronologically. No.
I felt that way.
Yeah.
So would like to thank you so much.
Oh, I should thank you. I should really thank you. I'm very, very grateful.
People, we have been honored today having Alhaji Haruna Attah join us on Footprints. My name is Samuel Atta-Mensah. Thank you. We'll meet again.